Hi everybody. I think this is an important topic. There's a lot of information going around about these lenses, and I thought I could maybe demystify some of this for anyone who is looking for parts or looking to alter these parts for number 5. The truth about these is they are hard to find. They've gotten harder and harder to find over the last several years. I think some of that is because people will buy them in hopes of building a Johnny 5 replica and then change their mind, and then the lenses are just somewhere, just in storage and never heard from again. So I would encourage anyone who has a set of these that they're not planning on using to post them somewhere where they know they will go to a good home for a reasonable cost. The cost on them has been going up and up. I also know that some people have bought up several sets and have kind of held them back for whatever reason, and I would also encourage those people to help out other people who do want to get started doing this, because these things are very, very difficult to find, and it's getting harder every day. The lens itself, when you first get hold of one, is going to look like this. It's a copy lens. It was originally used for doing photographing graphics back in the day before we had photocopiers and computers to do graphics with. It's pretty reasonable to understand how it works, to take it apart, but it does have to be taken apart properly and machined properly. Mine were machined by Ryan Howard of Johnny 5 Replica Nottingham. I did watch him do them. I don't have the expertise to do these myself. It is something I would like to learn. However, all the information that I have is from a first-hand experience of seeing these done and actually helping to take apart and clean them. So the lens does have a rear lens on the back, and that's removed via some really little bitty screws, and then after you remove the rear lens, then you have to remove this ring here that's used for adjusting the iris. And those aren't terribly hard to remove, but there's a spring-loaded system in there, and if they're removed properly, nothing should spring loose. So when the rear lens is taken off, it can be used like this one for practice. It's got a similar dimension to the front lens. It's a little bit deeper of an angle, but that's a really great rite of passage, is to practice. Before Ryan machined my lenses, he actually practiced on that one. This is what the rear lens removed looks like. So it's pretty similar to the front lens. And then this is the little aperture adjustment ring. So what happens is that you take the rear lens and the ring off, and they're not really used anymore. That's why you can practice on that rear lens. And then what you do is you take the front lens, you remove that, and this is machined. It's attached to the lathe on this part here. Put some electrical tape on there and around these threads, and it's secured in the lathe right about there. And if it's secured properly and if it's spinning true, it will spin perfectly concentric, and the lathe bit has to be set up properly at the right angle. This is a 14-degree angle, and that has to be very carefully set up and very, very gingerly done so that you don't go past this very center black ring. That's right up against the glass, but you can set the lathe so that it won't go any further than that. So that's something that's doable, so that you run very little risk of going past that point right there. You can actually set your tool so that you can't crank it anywhere past there. So what happens is you basically very carefully machine off this. There's a pretty high edge here, and then you machine off all this black paint and these little embossed numbers, and you have to go down just far enough to get rid of all that text, but not too far, because believe it or not, this little bezel, this brass bezel that's revealed when you take all that off, is not very thick. It's a pretty thin little piece of metal. So this has to be done very carefully. The other thing that has to be machined is the threads that were right here. Those are machined off, and then this front face here, this flat facing front part here, that's all machined off, and then you got a nice pretty aluminum piece there. It looks really nice against the black paint that's here, and then the brass. It makes a pretty nice combination. The other thing that has to be done is you have to mask around this iris. There's a lot of talk about how you have to take the blades apart, and that you have to gradually open or close the blades and paint a layer and a layer and a layer. Ryan and I have discovered, Ryan actually discovered this, that really all you have to do is close the iris all the way, masking tape around here so that the whole rest of the lens is covered up, and then very, very lightly layer over that with spray paint. And when you let it dry, what you do to get it to come loose is you actually push it back and forth like that really carefully, and then if you have to, you might have to pop each blade loose from behind. One of these had to be done that way. The other one just kind of came loose on its own, and then you should be able to just open it up. You get a little bit of black around the edges where those blades overlap in a certain way, but overall it's a really nice, pretty effect. Makes a kind of silvery blue iris. This is the paint, I believe. Yeah, I think this is the right paint. This is the VHT silver blue paint, and that makes this really pretty, very delicately blue silver metallic color. And then when all these are both machined, then you just put this piece on. Oh, excuse me. You put this piece on, and there are some little bitty threads in there. Those threads lock together, and it screws right on. This may look familiar from the opening credits of Short Circuit, when a gloved hand actually did put this piece on. I happen to know that that hand belongs to Phil Bartko. They had a hand model who was supposed to put that piece on, and those threads are difficult to lock just by feel, and they actually had to get Phil to do that because he was one of the guys who had built number 5, and he was familiar with how it felt to get those threads together. So he was there overseeing things during the shooting of the opening credits, and he's actually the guy who put that piece on. So there's a lot that goes into machining these. I have a great respect for anybody that does them. Since they are so rare, there has been talk about doing kind of a reproduction version of these for builders. There's also been somebody I saw who did their own reproduction of these, I think mostly with 3D printing and other techniques, and I guess they probably got some kind of a similar glass lens, and have actually reproduced these with 3D printing and other techniques. So it's nice to have the original part. They are very unique and sought after and difficult to find. I have looked up Wollensak lenses on eBay. These have come up very infrequently now. There's a lot of other Wollensak lenses on eBay that also go for pretty high prices. So I know that just as collector's items for camera enthusiasts and photography people, these things are actually considered a collector's item just as they are. Just this original version is actually sought after to be kept original, and I can understand why it's a beautiful piece of equipment. So I would encourage anybody who has duplicates of these, ones they know they're not going to use or can't possibly use all of. I'll strongly encourage people to please contact the builders groups about selling these to someone who is looking for a set of them, because it's just a nicer world if we all share. So I hope this has demystified these lenses a little bit. There could be some that are similar that could be used instead of these. I'm not aware of exactly what those would be, but I know that when they bought them for the movie, I'm sure they were surplus and they were in abundance, and they probably got them for a few dollars a piece back in 1985. But now they're going for $250 to $300 a piece whenever they do come up. So they're very, very nice, very hard to find, and need to be handled with care because there aren't a whole lot of them around anymore. So anyway, hope this helps, and I think it's just a good way to get a closer look at these really pretty lenses and the very beautiful result that you can get with a good craftsman who knows their stuff, altering them for number 5. I'm really happy with these, and I hope everybody out there who has a set can find somebody to help them machine them. I know Ryan is willing to work with people on that. Johnny 5 Replica Nottingham. There's a little shipping involved if you're in the States, but I think that plus whatever Ryan asks for that bit of machining is well worth it. They're beautiful. He does a really wonderful job on them. So hope this helps. Thanks a lot for watching.
For effect.
Yes, yeah.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! That's not bad.
That's not bad. Apparently. Okay.
No one's crying, so that's good.
Right. Yeah. Shall we take it out?
Yes. Let's take it out.
Threads haven't been damaged. And that's pretty damn good.
Ooh. Wow. Johnny 5's eye.
It is indeed.